Hi BookTube, Sarah here, and welcome to my channel. Today I am coming to you with my July 2020 wrap-up and stats. I love doing these videos every month, just as much as I love doing my TBRs. I love kind of wrapping up the whole month and sharing my stats with you guys. That is one of my favorite things. I am huge on stats for some reason. I don't know why, but I do absolutely love them. And I love talking about them. So as I mention every month, I use the Let's Read spreadsheet from Brock. And Brock's channel is called Let's Read, and he puts out this amazing spreadsheet every year. He kind of revamps it every year, but it's generally the same thing. He just adds and deletes a few things, tweaks it every year, if you will. And every year I always say, oh, this is the best one so far, and I'm not going to use any new ones. And then he brings in a new one, and I'm like, ooh, new features. And I immediately want to go ahead and use it. So I get all my stats from that spreadsheet. So in this video, I will be going through all my statistics for the month, and then I will be going through the challenges that I participated in. There's only one for the month of July, and that is the Triple RC Challenge. And then I will be talking about my top 5 books of the month. So, sorry in the background if you can hear what sounds like people cutting grass or cutting down trees. I've got the window open because it's so lovely outside right now, and, you know, it's a Saturday, so the neighbors are doing lawn care. It is what it is. It's the sounds of summer, you know what I mean? So let's jump into the stats. So I finished 22 books this month. Not my best month, but I am not too upset with that. I think it's pretty good. For my Goodreads goal, I am 19 books currently ahead of schedule, and I have read 158 out of the 240 books that I have planned. I am not changing that number this year. Last year I jumped around quite a bit. I increased it, then decreased it, and yada, yada, yada. And this year I'm just leaving it at 240 and seeing where I end up at the end of the year. And so I've read 66% of my goal. I have a feeling I'm going to surpass my goal for the year, but that's okay. Again, I just want to see where I end up at the end of the year. So for star ratings for this month, I read 3 3-star books, 5 3.5-star books, 8 4-star books, and 6 4.5-star books. No 5 stars this month, but still some pretty decent reading. I read 15 contemporary romance novels, absolutely no surprise there, 2 romantic suspense, 2 women's fiction novels, 1 cozy mystery, 1 historical romance, and 1 middle grade fiction novel. I like to keep track of the category romances that I read every month. So out of the 22 books that I read this month, 32% of them were category romance. I'm going to start keeping that percentage because it's something that I'm curious about, but I do break it down a little bit more. 3 of the Harlequin special editions, 2 of the Harlequin Desire, and 2 Harlequin Intrigue. So not bad this month. What's that? 3, 4, 5, 7 books I read were imprints, category romance imprints. So that's always fun. For my what would you call it, age range of books, I read 21 books that were geared towards an adult audience and 1 that was a middle grade audience. I read 1 book published in the 1990s. I read 9 books published between 2010 and 2019, and I read 12 books published this year in 2020. That number every month is quite high for the books published this year, and I really do enjoy that because I love sharing new books with you guys. And backlist books as well, but new books are always fun too. So I listened to 12 audiobooks and I read 10 ebooks this month. All 22 of the books that I read this month were full-length novels, excuse me. Of all the books that I read this month, 17 of them were part of a series. And 5 of them were standalone. But of those 17 books, 15 were part of series I had already started, so yay. Another one book is I started a new series, so yay me for only starting 1, and I completed a series this month, you guys. That is super exciting. And off the top of my head right now, I cannot remember what that series was. I'm pretty sure, was it the historical fiction novel? I can't remember now. You know what? I'm going to write it down right here, what series it was, because I think it was like only a 3-book series. It's like a trilogy, but still, I finished 1. So that's nice. It's nice to get 1 off the list. And I read a grand total of 6,932 pages this month, working out to approximately 224 pages a day. So yay, that's fantastic. So Challenges and events. As I said, the only challenge I really participated in this month was the RRC Monthly Challenge, which is the Romance Readers Reading Group on Goodreads. They put out a monthly challenge every month. I love participating in it. This will now mark 4 years and 7 months I have done the challenge to completion. So yay me. So I do not talk about this anymore at the beginning, like in my TBR. So I save it for the end so I can share with you guys the books that I ended up reading. And I actually find that easier. I think I mentioned this before, but just in case you're new. So they give you the 10 prompts. And what I used to do was I would get it at the beginning of every month, and then I would go through the prompts and I would pick books to fit those prompts. Well, what I do now instead is I leave the list of prompts in a Google Doc. And then as I finish each book every month, like as I finish a book every month, during the course of the month, I go and I look at that list and see if that book can slot into any of those spots. And I find that I get the challenge often finished by like middle of the month. And it's great, and I love it. There will be some more challenges I am participating in now. I am participating in, I think it's with the A Million More Pages group on Goodreads, or the Never Enough Reading Challenges group. It's one of them. But they're doing like some challenges that are lasting over like 4 or 5 months. So I will give you guys updates each month on how I'm doing for those in the months to come. But it's a lot more laid back because it takes place over 4 or 5 months. So that's kind of fun. But anyway, on to July's RRC Challenge. So first one was Happy Birthday July. Read a book published in July, or read a book with red on the cover in honor of July's birthstone, The Ruby. And I read Sunshine on Silver Lake by Annie Raines. This one was published in July of 2020. The flower of the month for July was Larkspur, and it symbolizes positivity, dignity, and first love. It says read a YA book, or a book with a happy ending, or a book that is first in the series. And I read Christmas in Mustang Creek by Linda Leal Miller. This one, of course, had a happy ending, as most romance novels do. Not all, but most. Featured author challenge this month was Sarah MacLean. I did not read a Sarah MacLean novel, even though I love her work. But it was, you could read a book set in New York State, or by an author who is from New York State. You can also read a book with a character in college, or is shelved as historical romance, or a book that is considered a classic, quote unquote, or a book that you think will become a classic in time. And I read The Governess Game by Tessa Dare, which of course is a historical romance novel. Next up is National Blueberry Month. Read a book with blue on the cover, or a book with a character that is upset about something, or a book that made you cry. And I read The Wedding She Always Wanted by Stacey Connolly. In this one, the main character is upset at the beginning of the book because her wedding had been called off just a few weeks earlier. Next up, number 5 is National Picnic Month. Read a book with an outdoor item on the cover, for example, a tree, a street, or the sky, or a book with an outdoor scene in the story, or a book with a character with a checkered past. They have done things or have been in trouble in the past. And I read Sweet Pea Summer by Alice Murray, and this one has a beautiful outdoor scene on the cover of, I think it's like a pond, and there's a blanket and, glasses of wine. It just looks delightful. And then there was, number 6 was July the 1st, which is International Joke Day. It was also Canada Day. And I'm a little bit upset that they didn't use Canada Day as the prompt. Just a little bit upset about that. But fine, I'll take Joke Day, whatever. Read a humorous book, or a book with a cover that makes you smile. And I read Beard Science by Penny Reed. These books are always so funny. I love the Winston Brothers series, so of course it fit this prompt. Number 7, July the 2nd, was I Forgot Day. And that was read a book that has been lingering on your TBR or on your bookshelves for too long, or a book that, or with nothing on the cover but letters and words, no people, items, etc. So I ended up reading Evergreen Springs by Rayanne Thane. This has been on my TBR since September of 2016. So clearly it had been on my TBR for a while. Number 8, July the 5th, is National Apple Turnover Day. And this was read a book that you would turn over in your bed and stay up late reading, or a book with food in the story or on the cover. And I read Witness on the Run by Cassie Miles. This one kept me up late reading because it was so intriguing and so enjoyable, and I really loved it. I really, really love this one. Highly recommend if you're looking for your category romance for the summer fling. This one is a Harlequin intrigue, so definitely check that one out. Number 9 is July the 12th. It's Different Colored Eyes Day. Interesting. Read a book that has more than one cover edition, or a book with at least 2 different colors on the cover. And I read Hold Me Cowboy by Maisie Yates. Because this is published, this is also another category romance. This is published by both Harlequin here in North America and by Mills and Boon in the UK. There are 2 different covers. There's a North American and a UK edition, so it fit the prompt. And last but not least, the easiest, of course, is Reader's Choice. Read any book of your choosing, and I'll be honest, guys, I had forgot that I hadn't finished the last one for this challenge. So I read I marked down the last book that I finished for the month, which was Instainable Hunger by Yara St. John, which was another category romance. It was another desire novel, and I really enjoyed that one too. So into my top 5 books of the month. And as I always like to say, these go from my least most favorite to my most favorite. So coming in at number 5 was Sunshine on Silver Lake by Annie Raines. All these books I gave 4.5 stars to, FYI. This one was really, really good. It was a friends to lovers romance. They have been friends since they were little, and he has always had a thing for her, but he kind of broke her heart when they were in high school at prom. There's a backstory to it that I really don't want to get into it. They're both carrying with them a lot of chips on their shoulder. Not chips, I don't want to say that. But he comes from a family that had an alcoholic father, and her mother died when she was young of breast cancer. So they have a lot kind of in their past, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful story. A great small town romance. I highly recommend it. Coming in spot number 4 was The Cowboy's Claim by Nina Crespo. I loved this book so much. Sorry for tipping the camera. This was a Harlequin special edition novel, and it's about a woman who is an actress, and her name is Chloe, and she's auditioning for this movie that's going to take place like in a stable, like with horses and things like that. So her publicist sends her to this ranch for 6 weeks to kind of learn about horses and horsing lifestyle and being on a ranch. And Tristan is the guy who helps run the stable, and he is none too happy that he has to quote-unquote babysit this woman over the course of 6 weeks because, you know, he's got better things to do with his time. And of course there's a romance that ensues. It was absolutely delightful. A perfect cowboy romance. Again, if you're looking for one for the summer fling, the Sunshine on Silver Lake would work for small town romance. It would, and the Cowboy's Claim would work for small town romance as well as an author of color. And I believe it would also work for a diverse romance. So there are some suggestions for you guys. Next up, The Christmas Wish by Tilly Tennant. Oh, this came in at spot number 3. This book was fantastic. I really, really loved it. This one I read for the Christmas in July-a-thon, which I guess is another challenge that I participated in, so sorry for forgetting about that one. But I did read 4 books for that challenge. This one was wonderful. It's about a woman, and all of her books take place in the UK because she's a UK-based author. And our main character has just suffered a very, very bad breakup. She found out that her boyfriend essentially was already married to somebody else. Just never a good thing. And she goes back to her grandmother's cottage, and she spends a few months with her. And it's nearing the holidays, and they go out shopping one day. And sorry for a spoiler alert, but this is kind of given away on the back of the book. The grandmother ends up passing away of a heart attack, it seems. So just before the grandmother died, she had bought tickets for the 2 of them to go to Lapland over the Christmas holidays, which is, of course, in Finland. And it is the home of Santa Claus. That's what Europeans assume. The home of Santa Claus is the North Pole in Canada. He has his own postal code. It's HOHOHO. I'm not making that up. Look it up. It's a thing. If you are a child in Canada or an adult and you write to Santa Claus using that postal code, the North Pole, Santa Claus, the North Pole, HOHOHO, you will get a reply back. It's a true fact. But anyway, so she ends up deciding to take this trip, and she meets a guy on the trip. It's definitely a chick lit novel, I would say, because, well, there is a bit of romance in there. It's all behind closed doors. It's all very clean, and when I say romance, I mean sexy times. And it was absolutely delightful. As I was reading the book, I was like Google searching like Lapland, and I'm like, how much would it be to go there? Because I want to go there. It was so wonderfully atmospheric, wonderfully Christmassy and wintry, and just an absolute delight. I love Tilly Tennant, and I keep encouraging everybody to pick up her books. I found her by chance last year on NetGalley when I requested one of her books, and I have been a fan ever since, and I am always hunting out her backlist or her new books. Coming in at spot number 2 was The Governess Game by Tessa Dare. This, I believe, is the second book in the Girl Meets Duke series, I think it was. Oh my gosh, this one was so good. This series is so much fun. Oh my gosh. Would it be one that I would recommend to people for, you know, if you're just starting out in historicals? I don't know, but they are so funny. And I think you should start with book 1 in this series personally, but this one was just fantastic. So it's about a woman who it's a case of mistaken identity in a way, where she comes to this duke's house to offer to be his clockwinder. Because I guess back then that was a thing, that you needed someone to go around and actually wind all your clocks. And he thinks that she's there as the new governess. And he has had a problem keeping governesses. Like, some of them don't even last a day before they're gone. And he's looking after these 2 wards, these 2 little girls. I cannot remember how he's related to them, but I don't think it's a friend of the family. I think you learn as the story goes on exactly who these little girls are, so I don't really want to divulge that. But anyway, they're not his, if that's what you're thinking. Excuse me. So anyway, she agrees because he's offering her X amount of money if she can last the summer. And these 2 little girls are just their character's all right, let me tell you. The one is constantly killing her doll, and every day they are going to a new funeral for some new thing that the doll died of. And the relationship between the governess and the duke, of course, is delightful. The little girls are great secondary characters. Even though this is the second in a series, I don't see why you couldn't pick it up as a standalone, because the first characters are mentioned in passing, like she is friends with the character from the first book, like the female lead from the first book. So they just kind of meet in passing. It's not like you're giving away too much of the first book, but really, really fun. I mean, this series is just so funny. There were points in it that I was laughing out loud. It is absolutely delightful. And coming in at the number 1 spot, I mean, what could possibly beat The Governess Game? Beard Science by Penny Reed, book 3 in the Winston Brothers series. I love this series so much. So much that I'm jumping into book 4 this month. If you guys watch my TBR, you will have already seen that. So this is Cletus and Jennifer's story, and I did talk about this one not too long ago because I finished it not too long ago. And Cletus, since book 1, has been my favorite character, and I was so thrilled to see him having his own story this soon in the series. I thought that they were going to make us wait a bit longer, but no. And Jennifer is the banana cake queen. So these are, I want to say, redneck kind of stories. And that's not meant in any kind of mean nature at all. These are good old boys, for sure. Like, you know, I think it takes place in Tennessee, and they are wonderful, wonderful characters. The whole family, it's about 6 brothers and a sister, I think, is the whole basis of the series. And so Cletus is kind of a little bit of an oddball. He's very set in his ways, and he wants to do things a certain way. And, you know, he meets Jennifer, and they kind of have never really gotten along, but then she has a secret on him. And she is kind of in a way blackmailing him to help her out because she now wants to find a husband. She wants to get out from under the thumb of her parents. And as I mentioned in my review for this book, as much as I really love the relationship between Cletus and Jen, what I really loved more was the fact that Jen was able to grow so much from getting away from her parents and finally standing up to her parents, especially her father, who was a complete jerk to her. Like, I mean, not a good parental figure at all. The way he spoke to her just made my blood boil. And the fact that she was finally able to get out from underneath them and do her own thing and be her own person, that was more of a highlight to the story to me than the romance. And the romance was fantastic. These books get very hot and spicy, so do keep that in mind. But I can tell you my mother has been reading through them, and she's been loving them. I think she kind of fast forwards through the sexy bits, but, you know, I don't know. But each to their own. But yeah, absolutely and utterly delightful. If you have not picked up the Winston Brothers series yet, please do yourself a favor and do so. You will not be disappointed. So anyway, guys, that is all that I have for this video today. I do hope that you enjoyed. Please let me know in the comments below what was your favorite book that you read in the month of July. And until my next video, everybody, take care and happy reading. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye, guys.